Hello everyone. Our today's topic is life legend of tribal icon Birsa Munda. We start. Veer Birsa ne baag mara. That means the brave Birsa killed a tiger. This passing reference is all I could recollect on tribal icon Birsa Munda during my early year of education. That was because while mainstream historians recognize the contribution of leaders such as Chandragupta Maurya, right up to socialist politician Jayaprakash Narayan, very few acknowledged the role Birsa Munda played in India's tribal right movement and freedom struggle. It wasn't until J.C. Jha, professor of history at Patna University, published his seminal work on the Coal Revolt, the mutiny of the tribal people against economic exploitation in 1831 to 1832 in the 16th, and his student Kumar Suresh Singh took his work forward that Birsa Munda began to be recognized as important historical figure. Singh went to become an IAS officer and served in Khunti, the epicenter of the Birsa Munda's rebellion. It was his book, originally titled The Dust Storm and The Hanging Mist, and later published by Oxford University Press as Birsa Munda and His Movement 1874 to 1901, that offered the first mainstream account of the life and times of Birsa Munda, from his transformation from a Christian convert to a healer and prophet, and finally a rebel who is credited with coining the war cry Ul Gulan, that means revolt. Born in the late 19th century around 1874 in a poor peasant family, Munda grew up at his aunt's home in Chalkad. Away from his father's birthplace in Khunti, there are stories of crippling poverty that surrounded him and of days spent without food. Munda converted to Christianity in 1886, and a ceremony was performed on the occasion. At the root of such conversion by the community struggle for survival, the promise that their land, which they had been deprived due to the rise of feudal system and the resultant economic exploitation, would be returned to them. Though Munda trusted the missionaries, he fell out with them and quit his missionary school. This was to be the turning point of his life, resulting in him coining the catchphrase "Saheb Saheb Ek Topi." That means the British and missionaries wear the same hat. It laid the seeds of anti-missionary and anti-British idea in his mind. Birsa was deeply influenced by tribal chieftains, also known as Sardars, and by their silent resistance between 1858 and 1896 British repression. Their petition and complaints to the police and collector, and even to the court against the economic exploitation and determining restoration of land rights, fell on deaf ears. According to Ranchi Gazetters, the tribal communities paid rupees 1 lakh over decades as fee to lawyers, clerks and court staff. Such was the exploitation. The tribal socio-economic system was disintegrating, yet the resistance remained peaceful until 1886. Between 1894 and 1896, Birsa turned spiritual and was known as Birsa, the Roger, that means healer of disease. And with that grew tales of his miraculous power. He also briefly propagated his own religion, Birset, which was said to be influenced by both Christianity and Vaishnavism. Birsa also painted himself with turmeric, throwing a powerful aura around him. Here we also get a peek into the mind of a master strategist. He was willing to set the narrative and communicate whether through social or religious means. The last decades of 19th century was also the culmination of various rebellions across the country. Rampa revolt on the bank of the Godavari by Alluri Sitaram Raju, Bhil revolt in Rajasthan under Guru Govind Giri, Dhur rebellion in Chhattisgarh, and simultaneously in Keonjhar, Odisha. The failure of the silent rebellion by tribal chieftain and a huge impact on Birsa. Then came the political movement of 1895 when Birsa used his popularity to exhort people to not pay rent on their land. The tone of Birsa preaching also changed. He said that he would not heed to the converted and the outsider. On August 22, 1895, Birsa was arrested by the British on charge of conspiracy to disrupt the peace of the area. Supporters in thousands thronged Khunti, where his trial was being conducted. He was released after 2 years, but the rebellion was far from over. Birsa Munda wanted the land freed from European missionaries as well as the British officials and continued the movement to assert their right of Munda tribal as being the true owner of the land. It resulted in several bow and arrow attacks by Munda tribes on foreigners and culminated in arson when a part of Khunti police station was burnt down. The British retaliated and many of his supporters died in police firing on Sale Rakab Hills, where they had taken refuge. Several people died and Birsa Munda was arrested in February 19. A few months later, he died in prison, possibly due to cholera. As the death fueled the discontent among the tribal, British officials considered and prepared a record of riots. Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act of 1908, which has bearing in Jharkhand even today, but in place restriction of the sale or transfer of tribal land. Despite this rich history, bearing a few instances where Birsa Munda was remembered, it was not until 1982 when Munda's status was erected in Rourkela, Odisha, 130 km away from Khunti, by daily wage workers who faced police brutalities, that Birsa Munda was thrusted into public consciousness. As word spread, a photograph of Munda was unveiled in Parliament in 1989 and status came up in 1998. Since been marketing Birsa Munda's birth anniversary on November 15 as Adivasi Gaurav Divas, Tribal Pride Day. On November 15, India's first tribal president Draupadi Murmu paid her respects at Ulihatu, considered the birthplace of Birsa Munda. Thank you so much.